Episode 1, R&D podcast. In the words of Nas, I don't know how to start this shit, so we're just going to start this shit. I'm here with my lovely co-host.
What's up? It's your boy Cosé.
Cosé, a.k.a. Bose, a.k.a. the God. What's up, bro?
Chilling, man. Woke up great. Had some ramen last night.
Oh, yeah?
Went to MB.
MB in Huntington?
Mm-hmm.
That's what's up, bro.
Had a veggie ramen for the first time. Fire.
That's right, because you're a vegan now.
Trying to make that switch.
How is that going?
It's tough, man. I miss cheese and eggs.
Cheese and eggs.
I don't even miss the meat, honestly.
No?
Nah, chicken's fine. I don't miss steak, none of that.
You know, I asked you before because, it depends, what, because you're still going to the gym and stuff too. So how do you kind of supplement the other than a protein shake, everything that you're kind of maybe not getting from the meat? How do you are you still managing that and working that out?
Yeah, it's tough, bro. Remember the other day I was telling you, because I had lost 10 pounds and I was getting a little scared because I thought something bad was happening. But then I was like, it's been a month and a half since I made the transition. So it made sense that I made those losses. But protein-wise, I've been eating, trying to fill things in, but it's still hard. I have to figure out what I can actually fill it in so that it won't affect me. But in the gym, I'm still as strong and I'm still as energized. It's just a weight thing that I have to figure out that I can get enough protein in my body to just compensate for what I didn't have.
Right. That's so interesting, man. And I think it's been a month now that you've been doing it?
Month and a half, yeah.
Okay, so it's you're in the perfect kind of grace period of being affected by a diet and noticing the differences. Because I know people that have tried carnivore, keto, paleo, a lot of different diets, and it always kind of really starts affecting them a month and a half, 2 months after. And then hopefully it's a long-term effect, but sometimes it may go downhill. Well, I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to monitor that.
And don't get me wrong too. I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
For Thanksgiving we had pasta, so I had pasta, and I had a one piece of chicken.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the other day I had egg too, so I'm flip flopping. It's hard to just cut it out cold turkey.
Okay.
But I'm trying to transition it just to be a little healthier, get more, because I've been doing research and it said that a lot of the foods that we eat are too acidic, and the body has to be balanced between alkaline and acidity.
Yeah. So
I'm trying to get that balance in, but all I've been eating my whole life is acidic food.
Right.
So I'm trying to be more healthy, just be in the best way, you know what I mean? Because sometimes, since this whole COVID thing started, I've been home and I haven't been working, but I still haven't been energized. And to me, it's been weird because I'm getting rest. I'm not overly stressed out, so it doesn't really make sense. So then I was like, maybe my eating isn't great.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been changing it. And granted, I haven't really been super fully energized, but I feel way better than what I did previously, Because eating, I had pizza. I was in South Carolina a couple weeks ago, and I had a slice of pizza. And a couple slices of pizza just made me feel so heavy. And the rest of the day, I was just super down. I felt full, just not being able to move.
All those carbs, it's a load in your stomach.
Yeah,
it just doesn't move.
It's crazy. You don't even notice these things, but it definitely does make an effect.
What's interesting is a lot of people have a similar story to you in the sense that they've had time to kind of think about the little details of or just the minutia of what's been affecting them in a negative way, their health, whether it's diet, whether it's traveling too much, whether it's just not being around your close ones that often, and then you're seeing them all the time. So it's a lot of hard kind of shifts that people have had to do. And it's cool that the time that you've had, I feel you've been able to not only improve your diet, but your mindset too, and just your general outlook on things. And, I have to say, bro, I've seen people, how different people have kind of reacted to how your time during COVID has been, and just kind of bringing up the not working thing. And I've always felt you've managed it beautifully. And even my parents are he's so, oh my God, lo toma como tan deportivamente. So he just takes it in jest. And it's yeah, he has a great attitude. He has a great energy. I think that's so positive. And they feel it too.
It's tough, bro, sometimes on myself too. More of a sense where it's Not that I care, because financially I've been saving money. I've always been in a position where even if I had rainy days, I've been prepared to take those challenges on. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
So financially it's cool, and I'm still living at home. So that isn't an issue. To me, it's more of an issue that on a personal level, on a societal level, I feel like if I'm not working, I kind of feel like I'm not doing anything productive.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it's bullshit, but I've gotten over it as time has gone on. But in the beginning, maybe like till summertime, September time, it was something that weighed heavy on me
Of course.
because of the reactions that people gave
Yeah.
me, or this or that, or people are like, oh, you're not doing nothing, you're just collecting this, collecting unemployment. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I've worked mad hard. I've done a shit ton of school. I was working at an office, at an architecture office, and going back to what you were saying, you notice these things that you take out of your life. And the biggest one that I had in my life was stress.
Right. Yeah.
Crazy. Like, you would go be in the office and it would be like nonstop from the moment you're in there to the moment you leave. And it was crazy. I didn't notice the effects on it till I started having like stomach problems, where it was like, it was affecting me. And I was like, why am I having these issues? If I eat clean, I like work out, I do what I have to do. And then I noticed it was like I was always stressed out with what I was doing. So it made so much sense that now it's like, yeah, work is not bad for whatever you do. But at the same time, should we be so stressed out all the time? I don't know.
I think it's a balance for sure. You know what I mean? And to go back to what you were talking about with like the feeling kind of maybe just not productive or not like useful to society. Like I know what those feelings are because I felt that the summer I came back from college, it was difficult because I didn't have a job like immediately when I graduated. So it was like that period of like, okay, like this open space of like not knowing kind of where to go, what to do, like what I'm supposed to be pursuing at the moment. Like, so, but in a sense, it's kind of like you have the time to kind of like, okay, that's when I started going to the gym, like really heavy. You know what I mean? Because you find other ways to kind of like fill that. And that's why I haven't like made fun or said any of these like snarky comments that I hear people make to you. And I'm like, okay, they just don't understand. But I guess it's a way for them to motivate. And I think there is like there is a way, like even for people that don't have that much time and people that are working, like there's a way to find a little bit of time to kind of see what we can improve in our daily lives. And like for me, something that's been really helpful is Wim Hof method. And I've been doing it now for like 3 months, like solid. And it's great too because like one of the things that the breathing helps is it alkalines the blood and it increases the pH level of the blood. And then when you, I don't want to go into too much detail because I'll be talking about that a lot. But just, I think it's a great way for like people that are in the West, that are busy in like the hustle and bustle of the daily commute, of the daily everything. Like they can kind of fit that in with like a 20-minute session. And then the cold waters, that's like the...
You've been doing cold showers though?
Yeah.
Oh, tough.
Yeah.
I had to stop though.
So this is the thing, right? I started those in the summer. And I started them like in June. And in the beginning, let me not say in the beginning, these cold showers always suck. There's not one kind of like, they always are like, fuck. Like you have to like just, all right, fuck. Like you have to get kind of like ready and you got to do like that's why doing the breathing before helps because it can kind of like activate the nervous system and just like your breathing in general. But in June, the cold water was like, okay. If anything, I was like, okay, this is awesome because I didn't have AC in the summer. So I was like, okay, this is a way to kind of cool me down. So I like the cold water. And this is like, and I'm like, oh, this is like going to the beach, which is true. Like when you go to the beach and you get hit with like water that you're not, like you kind of in your mind, you think it's cold, but it's not that cold. Like that water only like, it's like 60-degree water or something like that. Mm-hmm. It's like not even, but to us it's cold. And so it's like, it was a way to kind of cool my body down. But then I've noticed like the water in these pipes like drastically changing. And like November was like, okay, fuck. And then December, it's been getting worse like almost every day.
GG's, like. No, fuck that. I had to stop like October. No.
But dude, nothing wakes me up more, man.
Yeah? Every morning you do it before work?
Every morning, yeah.
Wow.
And it's pretty... it's just because I've had practice. So like I did I did this little kind of like 30-day challenge. Oh, you were part of it too.
Yeah, we did it.
Yeah, that's right. And that kind of helped me kind of ease into it a little bit more. But even when that started, I was starting with like, okay, no, 30-second from the jump. And then I just do like a minute. And then I was doing like, I got to like 2 minutes, 2.5. And then I was like, okay, 2.5. Because it's just, you don't have to be in there for long. It's just so that everything can kind of wake up and it just activates your circulatory system.
You capped it at the 2.5, or you've been going higher and higher?
I don't even time it, bro.
Okay.
I just kind of go in there and then...
You do a full cold shower, or you do warm, and then...
In the morning, full cold.
Oh, deep. Yeah. Soap and everything?
Yeah.
Strong, man.
Well, the thing is, I don't want my hair. Like, I won't...
Okay.
That's crazy. Like, because I have a lot of hair. So, like, if my hair gets wet, then it's just cold and gross and just, like, soggy and stuff. So, and it's just a lot to deal with in the morning. But in general, like, yeah, I'll just go in there, and then I'll just, like, I'll wash my face, my body, and then I'll get out. I'll rinse, and then I'll get out, and that's it. But then I'm just awake, and everything is just up, because like the amount of energy that your body like has to generate to keep you warm, that's what kind of activates you.
When you do the breathing in the morning, do you do it like you wake up and you do it while you're laying down, or you get up, sit, and do it, or how do you go about that?
I get up, I poop, and then I go back to the bed, or I go to the couch, and then I put a cover over me, because I'm always cold in the morning.
Okay.
And when you're doing the breathing, you're actually going to maybe feel a little colder, because like you're taking all that oxygen in. So your body's sometimes, after a while you get used to it. But like if your body's not used to all of the oxygen that you're bringing in, and just in different parts of the body. So like you'll feel kind of like your fingers tingling, your feet, like all your extremities are going to start going, because you're delivering oxygen to those parts of the body. So then I'll cover myself and I'll do the breathing. And then after the breathing, I'll pretty much go right into the shower. And that's like the best way that I've kind of like been managing to do, and kind of has felt comfortable.
But how do you feel? Have you missed a day ever? Like since you started?
No, bro. I miss a day. I'll miss like a day or two, but like I'll feel when I miss those days.
Do you put pressure on yourself when you miss those days? Like, do you feel shitty?
No, it depends, because like if I miss it because I was just generally like really busy from the morning to the evening, then it's like, no, it's okay. I'll miss a day. You know what I mean? But for the most part, I won't miss more than 2 days.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'll take like 1 day and then just be like, okay, cool. And I just keep going back. I go back to it. Yeah, but it's crazy. So like, and this whole thing started, one of the reasons it started from a while ago, but the cold shower thing specifically was so that I could train for the polar bear plunge that they do in Coney Island, which is tomorrow. Today, by the way, everybody, today's December 31st of 2020, the most chaotic, contentious year. Definitely not our human history, but like as far as a lot of us have been alive, I think for sure. I think like the generation, just like the people alive in general, from youngest to oldest, is probably one of the craziest years ever. But let me not digress. So the polar bear thing, like I started because my friend Harrison, I didn't know he'd done it twice already, but he was gonna do it, and we were talking about it, and then I just got motivated and I just texted him, NYD, we out, or that's something like that. And I was like, okay. So then once I tell him like, okay, we're doing it, then we're gonna fucking do it. And then I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna go into the water in January, and fucking like tomorrow it's gonna be like 40.
Brick.
Yeah, and it's gonna feel like 30 something.
Early too, right? You guys have to go over there?
We're gonna go at like 9, 10. Now, by the way, they canceled the plunge, like because it's like a lot of people that go.
The official event.
The official event is canceled because of COVID-19.
Okay.
But we don't give a fuck about that.
So you're gonna go in with like a mask and stuff?
Get the fuck out of here. And get the fuck out of here. And we're not saying don't wear masks. It's just at the beach, it's kind of silly if you're out and you just like, I think it's just silly. When I see shit like that, or like when people are still kind of wearing them in the cars, it's like, please, what are we doing?
Crazy. It's fear.
But yeah, man, I was like, all right, so let me train for that. And then that's how I like kind of started doing the cold, and then just kept going from there. And it's funny because the reaction that I get is so interesting.
You told your parents?
Yeah, my parents know that I do it. But like just people that I tell about like just what it entails and like, so what do you do? And I'm like, okay, so it's some breathing. So it's actually breathing, cold therapy, and meditation. That's like those are the 3 pillars of it. But then I tell people I do breathing exercises and then I take cold shower, like cold water. And they're like, what? Like all the time? And it's like, and I've gotten like looks that I'm crazy. And then even just like when I went into the river at that mountain,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was generally positive, kind of like
Uplifting.
I think so. I think, it was probably one of the most courageous things that I've done. But I've gotten generally positive kind of reviews over that. Reviews. But, just people are like, wait, what are you doing? Like, because it's so crazy. Because it's like, what the fuck? And I've been fascinated by how it's like, what is it that they're afraid of? And then I've gone like, you're going to get sick. And it's like, no, it's not how it works.
Yeah, I've been reading that you don't get sick from the cold.
No.
It's the body that's weak that gets sick from viruses that are always around us.
Yeah, we're always going to be, we're in a pool of viruses all the time. You know what I mean? Like we're just, the human body is designed to react to them, to understand them, to adapt to them. The human body, period, they're human, is designed to adapt at every level of its being. So if that's true, then, where does this fear come from? You know what I mean? Where is that fear really coming from? And that's the thing.
I was watching this documentary. I'm looking up the name right now. Okay, I got it. It's called Heal. I got it. I saw it off of Amazon, and a lot of doctors there were saying that doctors who do traditional doctors, holistic practitioners, people who do sound therapy, pretty much more holistic approach to medicine. They say that 100% of diseases that we have are all stress related.
Sure.
All of them.
Yeah.
So practicing and doing these things like working out,
Right.
Yoga, breath work, even simple things like dancing, painting, things that you release or have a concentration where you're fully embodied into what you're doing, that helps you and helps the body. These are things that I've learned recently that we have 3 things that we have to take care of. It's not just the body. We have to take care of our mind and also our spirit. So what does that mean is that the body, obviously, we have to take care of it in the physical ways. We eat healthy. We do things to take care of it, take vitamins, go to the doctor. The mind, we have to declutter it. If we're always stressed out, then that's when things happen to the body. And I've experienced these things, and I've seen how it plays out.
Yeah.
And then the spirit is also ways that you have to fulfill that spirit, which is doing things that you love. You know what I mean? Not doing things because of what society says, not doing things because of this, because of that, but just doing things because of the simple things that you like. Like when we play soccer, how amazing does it feel afterwards?
It's like a glow, man. It's like
It's fulfilling.
Yeah, it's amazing. There's no other feeling like it. And I feel, what do you say to those people that maybe don't have, whether it's a go-to activity, a hobby, a passion? Like, I think we're very fortunate in that regard because it's like, in a way, we were born into it. Being where we're from, you know what I mean? Colombian families, like we're always going to be kind of in the space of that. Yeah, I don't think it's healthy to only do that or to kind of like, become so enwrapped, like just kind of wrapped up in it that it affects you in a negative way, because I've seen that too. But but it's a passion. It's something that we were born into. So, what do you say to kind of like the people that maybe don't have that, just kind of like on deck like that, kind of like an activity that maybe they've been doing because we've been playing since forever.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I've been playing since 4 years old. So like that's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's the thing. But a lot of people don't have that.
I think it's funny because we're similar where we like reading, we like listening to information, podcasts, we like digesting things, learning, getting better. And the more I read and the more I learn about different things, cultures, religions, everything, all of it just points back to yourself and that you have to find what works for you. So it's funny because like my brother, he loves anime and he loves video games.
Mm-hmm.
And in those moments, he's like concentrated. Like people will call him and he'll dead everything. He's focused in it, but it's awesome for him. My uncle, who is like 56, he was telling me recently, he's like, yeah, I got these new headphones and at work, because he wants me to connect the headphones for him because they're wireless and he's not really tech savvy. So he's like, at work, I've been going back to my kid's age and I've been watching like the Flintstones while I eat because it's dope. I like it and it relaxes me. I'm in tune with it. So it's like maybe a good way to figure out what you like. Go back and remember what you used to do as a kid. Simple things. Doesn't have to be anything. It could be something small like cooking. It could be something small as in just taking a walk in nature. Everybody has their own thing. There's no right way or wrong thing. You know what I mean? But we all have something that we like. Everybody just has to actively search for that. It's not going to come to you.
Right. So it's about, finding the space or putting yourself in a space where you can kind of think back and say, okay, what were the things that I really enjoyed doing, even when I was a kid? And that's positive, I think. And I think, another thing is like it should be well, who am I to say what activity should be for whom? You know what I mean? I'm nobody. But like, I guess it'd be a little better if those activities kind of like had a healthy component to it, whether it be like team building or it was involved exercise that'll get them kind of going. So like exposed to the outside, exposed to nature. Those things are dope too. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I think people have to really find a way. They have to kind of like they have to accept the kind of like they have to take responsibility a little bit in the sense of kind of saying like, okay, like what is it that I want to do? Like they have to, I guess, motivate themselves. Because you can try to motivate people, but it doesn't really work if they're not ready for it.
It's impossible. I mean? It's impossible.
You can. I'm not saying it's impossible. No, you know what I mean? The thing is, you can help people along the way, sure. But I think the real change is when you yourself, you take accountability for your actions and you say, okay, what am I going to do today? What am I going to do? And then you make like a little list, like of kind of things that you want to knock out that day. And you just... little, but it's like small things, and you kind of incrementally do it. I think, man.
It's kind of difficult because people are very closed off to trying things, and maybe they're so stuck in what they do and what they know that. Because I know people in my life are very set in stone where they do the same things every day and it's just the same routine, the same pattern, and they're comfortable in that. And that's fine. But at the same time, if things aren't working out and you're comfortable in what you do and there's something lacking, then there has to be some changes that you have to make willingly. Like you said before, responsibility is the most important word. The more that I live, the more that I for sure know that happiness is a choice. Happiness doesn't come to you. You can't become happy one day because you got a degree or because you're a millionaire. That's all. You have to choose the things in your life that make you happy and do those things constantly, I think.
100%. I have a quote here. I'm a fan of I read a lot of Jordan Peterson and I watch his lectures. I know he's I think a controversial figure in some respects and in some areas, but he's somebody that has helped me along the way, kind of just start putting my life together and put myself in a space where I can I can find a good balance of things, like have an equal amount of order and chaos. You don't want you don't want too much of one. But he said something that I think sums up what we're trying to say. Is like the well-developed individual is the antidote to the tyranny of society and biology. And it's true. And you have to, if you can find a way to develop yourself, you can beat a lot of things, external and internal. And I think that's kind of the way to go. And in this time that we've been in of, what 2020 has been about. It's been a time of great change. And it's forced people to adapt. It's forced people to do something different, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
This has affected everybody in some way, shape, or form. So you've had to change. You've had to kind of shift in the way that you do things, in the way that you approach situations, what takes priority. You know what I mean? And some of those things are going to be positive, and some of those things are going to be negative. I think the way that we tend to look at things nowadays, due to the influence of the media, of social media, of just general perception of things, is that most of the year has been negative, and there's been a lot of negative, but there's also been positive in a lot of different ways for a lot of different people. And it's funny because people have either gained 20 pounds or lost 20 pounds in general. I think in general, people kind of just have had some kind of ridiculous change go on. Like our friend Gonzalez, he lost like 40 pounds.
Crazy.
You know what I mean? But then I know other people that, have lost their jobs, have lost people. It's
difficult, yeah.
It's a lot, and that's what changed. But
I think we can only speak of our own experience and our own reality.
Right.
And it's tough, like you said, because I know people close to me that have lost close family members. I know that people have lost jobs and they've been in tougher positions now. And just the main theme of what humans can't stand is uncertainty. The unknown is a fear that people don't know how to handle, because control is all that we know. In relationships, in government, and this and that. It's everything. Everything is just a form of knowing what's going to happen. So going back to what we were saying, to me, I tell my mom and I tell all my friends that, yeah, I lost my job, and yeah, I was in school for 5 years for architecture, and I was in a position, and I feel like now I don't want to go back to that reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, granted, I have a lot of debt that I have to pay off, but this has been the biggest and best year for me, because I've made such a big change and I've grown so much that I can't even.
Yeah.
I don't know who I
Same.
was in March. I don't know who I was in March. I don't know who that person was.
It's true. It's just different people, different time, just different everything.
In a whole crazy way. And it's cool because in this time I've had more time with my brother. I've had more time with my family because we've all been home more. I got time to go spend with my family down south. And it stinks because maybe my reality and my experience is a little better, because in my immediate family and the people that I know close to my family, thank God that we haven't had any health issues, And I feel bad, and my prayers go out to those people that have been in those positions. But I think that things don't happen to us. I think things happen for us, in the sense where we have to look at each challenge that we're faced with and see how you can learn and how you can become something better from that. And yeah, I mean, the unknown is whack, I guess, sometimes, but humans are made to adapt.
Yeah.
You see that.
Yeah, bro.
Through history, through yourself, through your experience, everything that you thought was going to be bad,
absolutely everything,
ends up being better for you. We have no idea what's good for us. Nothing. No clue. No clue at all. And this is the sure thing that makes sense to me. And it's funny because what you were saying before with social media, just normal lifestyle, let's say here in New York is a city that really doesn't sleep. And the more you go out, it makes sense. Yeah. And when people are always working all the time, and then after work they indulge with their friends and go out drinking and have fun, and then they go sleep and it's a routine and they continue these things going on all the time, they are putting all of their stress and their mental issues that they don't even acknowledge in the back burner. So now when those people were laid off or were put in the positions where they were home, I saw a percentage that they were saying that issues between husband and wife at home was going up.
Oh yeah,
because they've had the
it's
time.
Been pretty bad.
Mm-hmm. And then I've had friends in my own life that have told me that they've had mental breakdowns being home, because everything that they've been pushing off, everything that they've been disguising with by doing all these things has hit them hard because they've been doing it for so long. That is the issue for me, that I think that everyone is not, I feel like the more, no one knows who they are, what they're doing. They're just trying to live their life in a way where everything is disguised as happiness, quote unquote.
They're more concerned with the perception of it than actually kind of like the feeling of it.
Yeah, just trying to drink all the time, smoke, do these things that are gonna make their way and go through, and it's fine, you know what I mean? But there comes a point where you have to face the reality of things, and whether how long you unface those things is gonna be harder than when you do or not.
It's true. Yeah, and it's just, that's kind of seemed like it's been a theme this year for a lot of people. You're faced with a lot of things, just head on, just know it. And it's scary. It's scary because you have a choice to make, whether you can be afraid of it and just let yourself be dominated by the fear, or you can rise to the challenge and you can say, okay, well, no, not me. Okay, so what do I have to do? What do I have to start doing? What do I have to improve? I suck at this. So fuck, why do I suck at that? Okay, let me try to find out like what it is I have to kind of improve. Like what little things do I have to change so that I can advance? Like little changes. That's a thing though. Like I think people try to make like a lot of people, me too.
Yeah, 100%.
We're always kind of trying to make like these huge kind of take these large leaps, and then it's like when we don't do that, we feel like we failed.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
And then you get used to that feeling, and that's something that you don't want to do. Like you want to kind of trick your mind, and you want to say, okay, let me bang out these like 5 things fuck it, one thing today, and then let me just get that done, and I'm good. And then you keep doing that, and then a week later you add 2 things, and then a week after you add 3 things. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, I'm always fucking doing these things. I'm winning. Mm-hmm. And then you trick your mind. It's like, oh, I'm winning all the time. Okay, let me just fucking keep going. And then that'll eventually it'll just be automatic from there.
You're like priming your mind to do these things to get into the flow of what you want to be.
Yeah, not to be annoying, but that's what the cold showers help me with. You know what I mean? It's like, because right before you do it, it's fucking terrible, bro. Like I don't even like my body tenses up on its own because it knows.
Yeah, it knows it's
like,
coming.
Shit, come on, what the fuck are you doing? Like it's like, please, fuck. And it's like,
love me. Yeah.
Dude, it's like, okay, so then you have to fucking you take those breaths, and then you're like, no, it's okay, let's just fucking go. And this is the thing, right? If you wait for your mind to be ready, then a lot of times you won't do anything. You know what I mean? Like even this podcast is like, oh, I've been talking about it, and it's like, I don't know. I was like, what do I talk about the first episode? It's like, I don't know. Let's just fucking do it. You know what I mean? Like, at this point, let's just do it. But what is that? So like right before you go into the shower, your mind is telling you all these reasons why not to do it. It's like, no, because you're going to fucking this, oh my God, this, and like, no, this, all those kind of things. But then your body is going to adapt before your mind does. So as soon as you just put your body in that difficult position, your mind will adjust. Everything will adjust. Your body adjusts. Yeah. Like when you're in the cold shower, after like 30 seconds, 40 seconds, it doesn't feel cold. It's just you're just in it then. And you just, oh, okay, I'm in this cold because the body's already warm.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with a lot of other situations. Like if you kind of just have to kind of pull yourself through it. It's kind of the same concept of like when people are struggling to go to the gym or struggling to run or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They just they find all these reasons. No, I can't today. No,
yeah.
Just today. No, it's just like I have to do this, and I'm going to feel this, and then it's just better if I don't. You know what I mean? And then you just never do it.
Yeah.
And then no.
It's funny because I've been realizing recently that we live in a really big paradox, where in the sense where it's like the mind tells you all these things. And so let me go back. All right. So it's like we live in a paradox where it's like you are the only thing you can control in this whole world. Literally. Right. The only thing.
Yeah.
But you're also your biggest enemy. Because your mind is literally the biggest enemy. Once you pass that hurdle, so pretty much what we're living in now is the sense where the mind is controlling the human and not the other way around. So we're all being controlled by something in our head that's not us. Once we flip that around and realize that we're the one that controls mind and we can utilize it and bypass whatever the fuck it tells us, that's when we start stepping into our power. And that's when things get dangerous.
My God. All right, so hold on. So then say I'm listening to you and I'm like, well, what do you mean me and then the mind and like what's the difference? You know what I mean? Like and then how do I, you know what I mean? Are there two different me's?
I think there's three voices in your being. I think there's the mind, the body, which I think is the heart, and then the spirit I think is more like an intuitive thing that you know, like a gut feeling. Or you can kind of relate that to the heart. I think to me, how I've realized these things is by taking away everything I was told to believe and taking away a lot of the distractions that I've had in my daily life. Like social media, for one. Seeing all these things, we don't notice it, but it affects us in a lot of ways. Yeah. So, and I still go on social media, but I just cut my usage maybe like half hour a day, or I put like the screen limit and the screen times, so I could just have that time to put away. Sure. And even information that I want to seek out, so like philosophical things, spiritual things, I look at it from a perspective where I'm always doubting everything and I pick and choose what I want or what I agree at that present moment to accept into my life. Because it's funny, like 3 months ago, I could be in a space where I'm reading things and now I can look back at it and be like, I'm in a whole different place. And that's fine. Like people think that you have to be the same person all the time, but I think it goes back to the point where we have to adapt.
Right.
But the more that you take things off, so conditioning with like, in my life, I've been conditioned to believe that if you don't have a degree and you don't go to school, then you're nothing. Bullshit.
It is.
I've been conditioned. I went to Catholic school, so they say that in school, if you didn't believe this religion or if you don't do this, then you're gonna be a bad person. You're going to hell. Bullshit. So all these things that you've been conditioned to believe, you have to move away and put it to the side and believe what you want. Like there's no problem to believe in whatever you want to believe in, but at the same time, you have to not let it. You can't view it in a dogmatic approach where it's controlling you, because anything that controls you is limiting you from knowing everything. And it's another paradox, because once you know more information, you know that you know nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And you're talking about programming, right? Like the programming of the individual. Like it's like we've been programmed to think certain ways based on the education system that we were in, or the things that we saw on TV, or the things that our parents were conditioned to see. It's like this kind of like this like all this programming.
Get married at a certain age, have kids at a certain age, do this at a certain age, do that in that way, do this in that way. Like it's all other people. And it's funny because everything that we go through, everything that we project onto other people, things that people project onto us, it's all based off of their own fears and judgments. So people that I tell that are like, they ask me, what are you doing with your life? And right now I'm like, I'm not working, I'm collecting unemployment. They judge me and they're like, wow, how could you be doing that? So what I've been doing recently is just straight up, because I've opened up my throat chakra, so I'm more open with what I have, and in a way that I don't care how you feel, because I'm not responsible for how someone feels.
Right.
They feel the way they feel because of their own inner conditions that they have.
Sure.
So they tell me, they judge me in a way, and I'm like, please don't judge me because you judge yourself for these little things that you're telling me. And it's the truth, because everything that we see and everything that people are and what they are is an inner thing that they don't know how to deal with or work with, and they spit it out because it's all repressed in them.
But it's because of their programming.
100%, yeah, 100%.
So how does somebody get the opportunity to try to deprogram themselves, or to even realize that they have to? Like at what point do you say, this is my programming? You know what I mean? It's almost like, I don't want to say you can't blame people for anything because of that, because it's almost like some people in a lot of ways are asleep. Some people in a lot of ways they don't understand that in a lot of ways they have been programmed in a certain way. But it's little things that you kind of like, even behavioral things. That's what we're talking about. Just kind of, you don't even notice that you're doing something. You don't even notice that you're having an effect on somebody because of your actions, because you don't even realize that it's out of the norm. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's like, but then, we're going to throw the word balance out a lot on this podcast. But the thing is, like, you have to have a balance of like knowing how much you're programmed and what is useful and beneficial to you, and then what's negative and what's going to be what's going to be destructive to you. And then how much you have to go in and dive in and do all these things. But then even just to start, right? What are the steps that one has to take to start deprogramming themselves, or kind of like trying to change their programming, trying to change their way of thinking, their mindset, their just it's difficult. It's difficult for anybody, right? So like the people that do judge you, it's like in a way you can't fault them because it's kind of like what they've been taught to think.
Of course, I know.
In a way, right?
Of course, 100%.
So and I think a lot of that too, bro, like, because like I've been around for a lot of, like, not a lot, I'm sure, but like I've been around for some of those interactions, and I think most of the time, like, it is people that love you. I think most of the time it's kind of like they're scared that you're going to maybe fall into the path of other people that have been in your position, like, and maybe even, do something. Because you have to think, bro, like, especially my parents, they're from the time that people who are unemployed, like, they either were bums or they turned to crime a lot of times. And I'm like, you don't know, like, Carlos is not going to do that. Like, he's not that type of person. And also I think they're just afraid. They want the best for you. And they're like, okay, how can we motivate them? And in their mind, that's like the way to do it. But they don't understand that's kind of like,
you were just asking me like the steps.
Yeah.
I think that all we could do on any platform, whether it be poetry, whether it be writing, whether it be a podcast, all we can speak of are our own experiences and what has worked for us. So for me, what flipped the switch in my reality was a hard situation that happened to me in my life that caused me a lot of pain, emotional pain, put me in a depression where it was like I was super sad about something, and it hit me in a sense where it was like, I need to switch things in my life for me to be happy. So that drove me to find my own way. So when you cook, I've learned, because I've asked people different things, something simple like, how do you make rice? Right. Everyone makes it differently.
Yeah.
The same thing with life. We have to all find our own path. We have to find our own thing that works for us, and we can look at all these different things and listen to all these different people. But in the sense, me and you, we both have listened to Jordan Peterson. We both do Wim Hof, but it has affected us differently.
Yeah.
The same things, you know what I mean? So everyone has to find their own thing. And I understand that we can have people in our lives that are fearful because of what they've seen. But again, those are their experiences. So what are they doing? They're projecting their own things and their own fears onto other people. And that's
true. Yeah.
There's
a lot of that.
That's not fair.
It's not fair, and it doesn't help.
If we
doesn't
go
help anybody.
100%. If we go back to what we started with when you said that there were people that have judged me, and you came from a place where it was like you haven't said anything. You said the word that is the most important word. There's a sense of understanding because you've been in that position.
Yeah.
So when you have self-understanding and you look at yourself and you're not criticizing yourself, you're not judging yourself, you're not saying all these things to yourself, then it comes from a place where you understand these things. So then in turn, when people tell you how they feel, you can feel for them because you feel for yourself.
Yeah.
When you're judging, when you hate yourself, when you're critical of yourself, that's how you are on everyone else. So it comes from a place where I personally think that we're living in an age where the most important thing is for everyone to do their own part for themselves. And if we all do that individually, the world is going to be something that we can't even imagine.
I agree.
Something that some people tell me like, oh, I can't wait to go back to the norm. What norm? It's a shitty norm.
Yeah. I mean, it depends what they mean by the norm.
Also true. Yeah. My norm might have been different than somebody else's. You're right.
Yeah. Because it could just be that they're just, they've been very comfortable, and they've been, they're very comfortable in the situation that they were. And again, they were forced to change, to make some kind of change. And it's great, man. We touch on a lot. Because you're talking about projecting too, and you're talking about kind of this is I think a cool way to say it, right? I think there are many ways to climb a mountain. There's different ways to climb a mountain. I think right now we're on different sides of the mountain in the sense because of like where you are and like what kind of your path is kind of taking you, and where my path is taking me. Like it could be that we're on different sides of the mountain, but at least we're climbing the motherfucker. You have to make a decision, like, because there's different ways to approach things. There's different
100%.
ways to approach anything. As long as you kind of take it upon yourself to climb the mountain, then you can rise to the summit. You can do it. I think anybody can do it. They just have to start in little kind of ways. And, because I've been working the entire pandemic. Like, I think this whole year I maybe only had like a couple of days off.
Yeah,
like,
that's killing it. Yeah,
you know what I mean? So like, we're coming from different sides in that regard, but that's where a lot of projecting happens too. Most of the people that are saying those things, they've also been working like the entire time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Different.
So
points,
they kind of feel like maybe like a little bit of jealousy. Maybe it's like, oh, he has all this time. He has all this time to do all these things, to read all these things, to do whatever he wants. I have no time. I feel like I'm a slave.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of that, because you got to think, man, like if you're working and then you're trying to go out, and then like if you have a family and you have to like
100%.
keep going to work, and then you have to be worried and especially in the beginning, if we're talking about like March, April, when the shit first started going down, people didn't fucking know, bro. Like, this is New York. We're in New York, so it was a different feeling. It was, okay, this is going to be really bad. It's going to be really serious. And then you have to deal with that along with, well, I have to still feed my family. I have to still go out and risk being, affected by this virus directly. I have to keep going to work. So then just overdrive. People that didn't lose it, that were fortunate enough to not lose their jobs, they went into overdrive. So they're exhausted. Yeah. And then you have people that lost their jobs and they're in the same kind of, well, I have 3 kids. I have to feed them. I have a wife. So it's like,
I can't imagine what that feels like. It's different,
I can't
100%.
imagine, yeah.
My mom, like you said, like I see it in my house. Me, my brother, we've had different realities of COVID, and my mom has had to work, like you said, nonstop. Yeah. And my mom is in school too, so she's working all day, coming home, staying up to like 2 a.m, doing her assignments. So it's like, but this is the thing, I'm not responsible for anyone else. I'm only responsible for myself. What is what is. We can either be a victim or we can challenge that, but I can't be someone who sympathizes with something I have no idea for. And it's the same thing vice versa. I understand that we all have different, maybe sympathize is the wrong word. I understand and I feel for other people that have different positions. But at the same time, I think that we all live different realities and we can't really understand what people are going through. You know what I mean? Right. It's different. It's different for everyone. And it's just, we can only speak of what we experience and what we've been through.
That's true. Yeah.
It's tough times. There is no right and wrong. You know what I mean? And
I think that's important.
Life is not fair. Yeah. That's another thing. Life isn't fair.
No, life is suffering. Yeah. But it's okay. I mean, that's just, I think that's the story of the individual. You know what I mean? The story of, in any ancient text, like it's what is it? It's the story of the struggle of the individual as they're living their life on this planet. Yeah,
bro. And if we had kids, if we had families, then we'd be grinding extra harder and we'd be doing what we have to do and facing those challenges. My attitude, just because I'm in a good situation, wouldn't change. I've been in situations where have been hard and I've had the same attitude. You know what I mean? All I can control is what I feel and how I attack things. So if it comes where I have those challenges in my life at one point and things are hard, then I'm going to face them and I'm going to conquer them. It's going to be fucking hard, but I'm going to still do the things that I have to do.
Sounds like you're starting with the man in the mirror. I like that.
It's the only thing that I have, you know what I mean? For real.
I mean, it's facts, bro. Yo, I know I want to talk about something. So, just probably like one of the last things I'll say on the whole COVID thing. How do you not talk about it, right? You kind of try to find ways to not talk about it and stuff but it's like all encompassing. Like, how do you kind of not address everything? But it's interesting because like I wanted to, like, today's the last day of the year, and the most important thing of the year. We were together when shit started kind of like really going down, in the sense like when we went to it was in March. It was March 5th in
you remember the date?
Webster Hall, New York City. And that's when shit was like kind of starting to creep up. I think they shut down that weekend.
Yeah.
And then you kind of started seeing kind of like people be affected by it. And then the story that I tell a lot is I was talking to this dude, and I was complimenting him on the crew neck that he had. It was a Juventus crew neck, and I was like, that shit is fire. So then I go and I start talking to him, and then I had like a little like it was like a half balaclava thing going on. So like I had like not a bandana, but like the thing that you put on your neck. Mm-hmm. And then we're talking, and then I kind of start putting it up, and then so I was like, I don't know why I did that though. Like I guess in my like in that quick, I didn't have that much that control, like that the control of just like my mind and my actions at the time, like as well as I do now. But like in the middle of it, I just put my shit up because I'm like, oh, I don't want to get sick. And then I saw him like bring his like he kind of covered his face with like his elbow. And I was like, oh shit, this just destroyed the whole conversation. Like it was my fault too. And then that's when I realized like, oh, this is going to be something like really different, really crazy. And in the beginning, my cousins were like, this is only going to be like 2 weeks, right? 3 weeks. I was like, no, bro, no. It's not. It's going to be months. That was March 2020, and it's December 31st, 2020. And shit is still crazy in the sense of like people's, I think the government reaction, people's reaction. And I think we've come a long way from that. Even though things are crazy, I think we've come a long way. I think there's like a general kind of, it depends who you talk to. And that's one of the things that was heavy about these holidays is like you kind of see where people stand on everything and what people's mindsets are. And some are not healthy at all. And that's where you worry. But I think we've reached a point where we know that it's not as severe as we think it is. And I say that with all respect to everybody that has lost anybody or lost lost anybody. But I think we can't let fear keep telling us what to do. Especially now, especially with all the information that is out about it. And, we can't keep letting it just dominate us. We can't keep letting it. I think we've come a long way since March. And I think there's still a little bit for us to keep going, but as long as we keep going, that's why we have to end the year as strong as we can. Today's the last day. And then we have to start the new year as best as we can. Mm-hmm. I think there's no other way. I think there's no other way but forward. You know what I mean? And I think I want to ask you kind of like, what would you say? What would be a way that you kind of help calm somebody, maybe like a parent or something that maybe it doesn't have the best outlook on the situation, maybe and it's understandable because maybe they're at risk.
For sure, they're kids, maybe they're exposing themselves. I think for me, because in the beginning I was also very fearful.
Yeah.
But I was overloading myself with the news and a lot of different information.
I mean, yeah.
And what you were saying before where we can't be fearful, it doesn't mean that we can't be precautious and we can't respect other people's precautions, you know what I mean? So I've had friends who have handled it differently where they don't want to hang out or they don't want to expose their family, and I respect that. And I think that that's fair. And I think that for all of us, it's the same thing if we have situations where sometimes we don't want to expose people. So I haven't traveled because I didn't want to one, quarantine, but two, at the same time, come back and maybe expose my family at home to something. Or I haven't done these things, but it was all from a place where it was fearful and I didn't really know about the process. But what I think people should, yes, be precautious, know what to do. So I know I have to take my vitamins. I know I have to get good sleep. I know I have to eat well. I know I have to take care of my body, my health, to be in the strongest position. So if by any chance I do get it, I'm in a place where my wall is so strong that even if COVID hits it, then I'm ready for that.
That's right.
That challenge. You know what I mean?
100%.
And I think each person should do these things but not let it overtake you, because when your body is in a state of stress, in a state of survival mode, it uses all of the I don't know exactly what it uses, because I'm not going to put out wrong information, but it puts you in a state where you're weaker, so anything that hits you will hit you, and you're going to be more, it's going to hit you stronger. You know what I mean? You're going to be in a better shape than if you were in a place where your body was more ready for something like this.
Right.
But it all takes for them. Even my mom and my stepdad, they, in the beginning, they were always watching the news, always. And I would tell them, like, maybe you guys should stop a little bit because it could be bad. And they stopped on their own maybe 3 months, 4 months after, because they told me, they were like, it was just overwhelming, and they repeat the same things all the time. So it was like, we know what we have to know. And it got to the point where it was getting us more sad than anything. So they realized it, you know what I mean? So it's like, we all have to do our part, and we all have to respect each other, but I think the most important thing is be ready where your body is strong.
Prepare yourself.
Yeah.
Prepare your body.
Yeah.
Prepare all three. The three that you said before. The mind, the body,
and spirit,
and the spirit.
All are connected. You can have the healthiest person that works out all the time, eats healthy, but if their mental is not good, they can still get cancer. They can still get diabetes. They can still get all these things because they're all caused by stress. Everything. And then people are like, why have I gotten something that I've been taking care of myself for so long? All three work interconnected. Crazy.
It's true.
It makes sense.
Yeah. It's
makes
true.
sense.
And you can't, stress. So much, right? So much in the air, so much just constantly around and stuff. It's
tough because we're put in these positions where we have to work so much, we have to pay so much. I recently just got off of my mom and dad's insurance because I turned 26. And I have to go to the doctor because I had something in my past. So I have to get CAT scans. I have to get normal blood work done. And just a CAT scan with that insurance is like $1,200 to $1,500. It's insane. So it's like you're paying just to survive.
Right.
It's not fair. It's not fair that we should be doing these things when it should be way cheaper, and people with families, people who have other responsibilities, of course they're going to be stressed out when they have all these things against them. It makes so much sense. Like, I'm blessed to not have or be in these positions, but it makes sense why there's so much anger and so much fear when something like this happens, especially now with everyone that's not losing all their jobs or losing all their securities and stuff. And who can really save when you're barely surviving with what you have and make? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's tough. It's tough for a lot of people, but I think definitely pushing forward is the only way you can go.
What's something that you look forward to in the new year, in 2021?
For this new year?
Or something, you know what, give me one resolution. By the way, I'm kind of big on that. The resolution thing. Like, even last year, I was done with all the ones that I made in like the first 2 months. But I like that. And it's helped me kind of like level up a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you're big on that. I don't know if you have maybe a couple. I don't know.
The way I ended this year was strong, but I have noticed some things that have been challenging to myself. One of the things is being too critical of myself. So being a perfectionist is one. And then the other that I'm going to tackle is courage. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be more courageous with whatever it is. I'm just going to act on what I want and not think of not let the mind stop me in those things, you know? So I'm going to act more. I'm going to do the things that I'm passionate about, like this, like starting a podcast or doing something that you would normally think, no, maybe I shouldn't because it's going to do this, or you overanalyze something. Just act and let life flow.
Right. That's beautiful, man.
Thank you. I'm excited for this new year, but I always am for the
So
new
am
year.
I. Yeah. I mean, it's exciting. This is one of my favorite holidays, New Year's Eve. Just because you're ending the year, it's like you have to think of it as like a clean slate. It's a little healthy to do that, I think, and to kind of maybe have positive outlooks on it, like approach it in the sense of like just what's gonna happen for me, not to me, You know what I mean? But what are you going to do for yourself also? I think it's positive. I think, and it's
When you asked that, did you have something in mind for yourself for this new upcoming year?
yeah, like specific things. Like I want to be more punctual. I want to keep the practice, all the practices that I'm doing, like that are benefiting me, like Wim Hof method. Like it's just me personally. Like I subscribe to like intermittent fasting. Like I think it's been helping me kind of like shed some of like the uncomfortable weight. I want to keep doing more yoga, more breath work. The yoga's been amazing to me, man. It's been really kind of like helping me deal with just feel kind of be more in touch with my body, feel kind of what's going on, more limber. So when I'm playing, I can actually ball. You know what I mean? Like I can actually kind of feel a little bit more limber. But the punctuality thing is big because I'm like, it's something that I've always been needing to work on, but I just don't. And it's like a dumb thing, right? But it's something that's personal to me. And then, one of my old resolutions was more cardio. Now, I do think I increased the amount of cardio that I did, especially with all the at home like body weight workouts that I was doing and like the HIIT workouts that I was doing. So like those are dope, but I think I want to start like running. I think I want to start like or maybe even something where I can kind of like I'm really challenging myself. And I do want to keep that balance with like a gym workout too. Cuz I canceled the one that I had in Massapequa.
New York Sport Club?
But it's like Temple now.
They got
Some
bought out,
bullshit.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the girl, I probably shouldn't say this, but like the girl that was working there, she's like, this is so dumb. Like, why is it Temple?
It's her the one that
No, she was upset because it's like the name of it is Temple, but there's a Christmas tree in here. And I'm like, are you upset? And I didn't say that, but she was like, it's just, but it doesn't make sense because like they don't celebrate Christmas, right? And I'm like, I think they mean like the body is the temple. And she's like, oh, okay.
Whatever.
But no, I canceled that one, and then I'm gonna find something closer to here so I can kind of just keep it balanced.
So you haven't found a new gym yet?
I'm thinking I'm gonna do like LA Fitness or something, and I can like hop around and go to the other ones and shit.
Oh, look.
Try to do something like that. But yeah, man, more cardio. Fucking for the love of God, I'm cutting out like 90% of the snacks that I eat.
I always laugh, but snacks are your main.
It's
your main
not
challenge.
good. It's terrible. It's really bad, bro. Like it's and I find kind of little. Oh no, I can use it as like I can use it so when I after I do a workout, I can kind of like re-up my my calories and just like my my glucose levels. Yeah. It's like, shut the fuck up. It's all bullshit, bro. Like it's so bad and it's so unhealthy.
What about like healthy snacks, or doesn't hit the same?
No, yeah. Those have, this has all been discussed, bro.
Okay.
I just don't want to do it. Okay. And that's why it's like one of those things, right? And then I think it's it's like how much something is bad for you, but you keep doing it. Like we all know social media is toxic for us.
Tough, yeah.
But I just got this new phone. I have more space. I'm on Instagram again. I'm on all this shit, and I'm like, what am I doing? Yeah. This is after I saw Social Dilemma, and I'm still doing all this shit. What the fuck? This is after I started reading Irresistible by Adam Alter, and I'm still doing it. So it's like, what am I trying to do? It's almost like I know how bad it is, and I'm like, all right, I know how bad it is. So let me just fucking just kind of run this into the ground so I don't want to do it anymore, and then I can just stop doing it forever. I guess that's how I think of it, but it's just, no, you just have to fucking just start decreasing the amount of time you're on the fucking screen. Mm-hmm. There's this app called Moment. If you download it, it like really monitors your screen time. And then it even monitors like how much you pull up your phone. So like the amount of, like say I just grab it right now and then I pull it up, it'll kind of clock that. So then it'll show you how many times you're doing that. And you look at it and it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, literally.
We're all addicted. Mm-hmm. We're all addicted.
100%. It's tough because it's like you think about all the time you've spent on your phone just swiping through these things, and you could have done a lot of different things.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And I think it's we don't realize until we see the number, until we see how much is actually, how much we're on it, how much we could actually do. It's like, what was it, like 8 hours on my shit? Like 8. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
what are you doing? What are you looking at?
It's like a full-time job.
That's ridiculous. And there's like an average, that average is like going up every year.
The good thing is that these are all things that can be changed. That's the good thing. You could just, if you look at it from that perspective, then just know that gradually, yes, you can change them, but you could definitely change these things.
I think that's resolution number 3. I think we're at, or whatever. That's a resolution for sure. Just doing that, and then a big one for me, bro. And I've kind of gone into the like the swing of it recently, is trying my best to reconnect with people that I've lost touch with. I'm really bad with that. And it's not because I have anything negative against anybody or anything. It's really it's a personal thing. Like I'll distance people first so that I don't get hit with like the weight of like I can't connect with them as much. I can't communicate with them so much. Why? Because I'm busy. Or why? Because I'm trying to do this. Because I'm trying to start a new life, start a new chapter. I'm trying to get on this path that I'm on.
Start your path.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome you say that, because I'm literally in that space, and I think that there should be mutual respects between friendships. That if people are doing their own thing, they're not always going to be available, and things change. We're not always just going to be hanging out, drinking, or smoking, doing all these things that we used to do. And there has to be a point where we all respect that and realize that we all have to start our own life, but still, when we have the time, we come together and connect like if nothing happened. We do it all the time. You went to school, we didn't talk for years. I was in school and it was the same thing. Or even now, there's times where you're busy, I'm busy, but we connect and it's like nothing changed.
Right.
I think that's beautiful in its way, and I think that everybody should respect and understand these things and level up individually. Like,
I think you're right. I think it's true. You've had a little bit more experience with that, though, on my end, just because from school and stuff like that. It's a good point, actually. I can't, but I do feel bad because, like, specifically with like family members that I have in Colombia, like I lost touch with them because it's hard to maintain a long distance relationship in general.
Yeah,
especially with all the shit that I'm trying to like work out here and stuff. But then I don't know. I just don't like when it's like taken in like a way that.
I feel you.
You know what I mean? That it isn't. It's not. I don't have no hate. No, I don't. It's not out of malice. It's just out of like, I'm just trying to find a way. But I will be honest. It's also out of fear a little bit, because what stops me is, well, I don't know how they're going to react. I don't know what they're going to say to me. I don't know what they're going to think of me now. I don't know what they're going to, what if they're like, well, why are you reaching out now? Like, what do you need? Like, you know what I mean? And that's my fear that's blocking me from connecting, and recently I've been able to connect with people that I either fell out with or just, we haven't, we either didn't see eye to eye at one point, or just, things happened that kind of led us to kind of go separate paths. But somehow, like, this time that we're in, like, has kind of led us to kind of reconnect. And it's been beautiful. Like, people kind of that you realize that you had a whole history with. And you're like, wow. You know what I mean? And I think that's something that I want to try to work on. And that's something that I think it's positive, because just little kind of ways that you can kind of, it's almost like reconnecting like the ends of two wires, and it's like, oh, okay, this is what's going on here. And it's the love, right? It's like if you kind of keep seeking out love and keep seeking out connection with people, I think you'll kind of find that it's like it'll lead you to different paths that you never thought you'd be on.
Yeah.
And it's like it's like a door opens and you're like, well, what's in this door? Like, I've gotten in the habit of like, if I see that the door's there, I'm gonna walk through it. Because just fuck it, why not? Yeah. You know what I mean? Just what's the worst that can happen? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And of course, you have to deal with that in the most intelligent way that you can, because you have to understand, well, what can be good or what can be bad. You know what I mean? How do you know the difference? How do you know the difference is I think what's really important to work on, so you can achieve that balance. But yeah, man, I think
100%.
I think connecting with people, and then that's all I got right now. I'm gonna have way more. Like I think I have a list already. I'm just not gonna. I just don't want to look for it. But yeah, a lot to work on.
That's awesome, though. It sounds like you have a good plan and foundation for this new year.
I think so, man. I think that's the best that we wish anybody, and I think there's something different about this year leaving. I think it's, New Year's Eve, it depends, because, people look at it how they want. They can, even the holidays, even though it was different, you could choose whether you want to be in the holiday spirit or not. It's really up to you. It's not, there is no right or wrong, as you said before, But I think there's something about this year leaving that's a little bit more emotional than others leaving, even though you're not going to be around people maybe as you want to, and that's going to be difficult. But at least they're alive, right? At least they're like around. At least you can talk to them.
Yeah.
At least they're still on this planet, alive, breathing. I think those things are important. I think if 2020 has taught us anything, is that we have to cherish
What we have.
who we have.
Yeah.
And we have to make the best of that. We have to kind of try to see, okay, what am I grateful for? Really, what am I grateful for?
I heard this quote, and it was really empowering, because it was like, I think it was like, we take 17,000 breaths a day, so we have 17,000 reasons a day to be thankful.
Wow, I love that.
And I saw it and I heard it and I was like, whoa, like, it's so true.
Yeah. And it's difficult, right? Because you get lost in the other stuff. You get lost in your mind. You get lost in
Normal is life, yeah.
You get lost in everything, yeah. But it's more true now than I think ever, for sure.
I think for those who are feeling like they're not really stepping into their power and they're lacking that love, or maybe that energy, that good, I think that whoever does listen to this and whoever is listening, I think that I want to send them what I have, what I feel, because I feel nothing but positivity, and I feel positive outcomes.
Same here.
For this new year,
Fuck yeah.
Closing this chapter, but opening up something even better.
Yeah, and we pay, we pay respects to everybody that we've lost, everybody that anybody's lost, even people, whether it's a family member or whether it's fucking Diego Maradona, you know what I mean? Like we've lost people along the way, but that's another reason why we have to be more grateful to be here on this planet,
100%.
and just to keep existing. And then we're gonna go from there. I think that's a positive way to end it. I think, we can go, but I think that's just a beautiful way to put a cap on things. And I think it's all about love at the end of the day, man.
100%.
In the words of the late great Walter Mercado. You didn't expect that, right?
No way.
He said, de mí mucha paz y con todo mucho amor.
Shout out to him.
Shout out to him. Shout out to everybody. A lot of love, a lot of blessings for the new year, 2021. Make it your bitch. Keep it pushing. Breathe.
Keep fighting.
And move forward.
Facts.
Thanks, everybody. Have a happy new year.